Cobb TV. Watch your life make sense.
The thing I enjoy most about photography is, I would say, is observation. Is the ability to, the wonderful opportunity, in fact, to have my job be about looking at life, looking at people, and seeing what people think, seeing how people are in their lives, and creating a certain poetry from that. My name's Tim Knox. I'm a photographer in New York City. This is my home and studio, and I've been studying Kabbalah for 1.5 years with BB. My photography appears, you'll see it in the London Times, which I'm the main photographer in America. They fly me all over. I get to shoot all the main luminaries of the world, which is pretty amazing. Seems how I get to say absolutely anything I want to say to them. And a lot of times when I go and shoot, I never know what I'm going to find. So the most important thing to me always is nothing. I love photography. You never know what's going to happen, especially when you're shooting people. Nothing is the most important thing, because you have to have an appreciation of nothing to be able to walk into a situation and produce from that situation, rather than produce from the ideas that you have in your mind. We're off to shoot a guy in a hallway full of trees, and there's enough room for everybody to get in. It should be good. And you have to be responsive enough to that, which that is, you just haven't got a clue what it is. It might be a colour, it might be a form, it might be light, which is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. And something fits with the people, so it's very abstract in your mind with what's going on, and you just feel towards something, and it's really what you're feeling towards is something that's inside of you. It's not anything that exists outside, because you're following an internal feeling of delight. I was actually born in Bevington on the Wirral, which is in England, just across the Mersey from Liverpool. I recall always trying to fit in, always being pushed to the outside, and I'd always speak my mind. Well, I started off speaking my mind, and then nobody knew what I was talking about, and everybody would pick on me, and then I started making it. I turned it into humour, so at least I'd get to say what I wanted to say, but everybody would be laughing at it, but it wouldn't matter to me because I'd make everybody laugh. So that was the second phase. And then it was like the severe disappointment of not really feeling that, always having this sense of being misunderstood, I think was the biggest feeling from my childhood. I had no idea what life was for when I was a kid. I mean, I was just under pressure, and I was always trying to escape pressure, and there was always an escape to be had, or there was always something that was eluding me, that I knew that there was something that should be that wasn't, and I just looked for it all the time. I found drugs. That was pretty good for a while. I did that quite extremely, using drugs essentially to turn myself inside out, to try and understand myself, and realise that was not very useful, because at the end of the day, my zeal to find this thing through this process turned me into a cabbage for pretty much 3 years, doing just way too much, pushing way too hard, and then the whole system just shuts down. Seemed such a metaphor at the time, where I was running and it was in the dark, and I jumped over what seemed like a really small wall from where I started, but on the other side there was like a 25-foot drop and just shattered my leg. And it was back in the day where it was like really crazy, pretty intense. I was getting chased at the time by the police. He jumped over and didn't hurt himself. I tried to get up and run, but there was a bone sticking out of my leg, so I couldn't go very far. And then I remember lying on the hospital bed, and I knew that I was dying because I could feel myself I had this sensation that I was I was just kind of drifting away from my body. And I didn't need to breathe if I didn't want to. It was very, very strange sensation. And I kind of looked at it and I thought to myself, I've not come into this world to die on this bed as another overdose, drug addict. So I decided that I wasn't going to leave and I was going to stay. And with such determination, I stayed. I really fought not to die, and I stayed. It gave me an appreciation that life had a value that I needed to resolve in a realistic way, rather than, I didn't need drugs. I didn't need any of this stuff. If life had meaning, then it needed to be a direct meaning to me, not through anything else, not through all this stuff. I needed to find it in a real way. And all the ways that I'd attempted before were not real. I found Kabbalah about 24 years ago. My first encounter was actually within a Christian church, which was kind of interesting. Then going in search, and I searched in a number of different places. There's lots of people kind of teaching Kabbalah. But with B'nai Baruch and the authentic sources, there is such a difference. And the essential difference, I think, is that B'nai Baruch doesn't really teach the wisdom of Kabbalah. It teaches you how to get in touch with the Creator through the wisdom of Kabbalah, and then the Creator teaches you everything. That relationship, that incredible, powerful, wonderful relationship, through all of its pain and through all of its joy and through all of the experience of it, takes you through yourself in such a way that everything becomes revealed. There's a completeness to it. There's a system. There's a complete system that you realize is operating, and all you have to do is learn the system through the learning center and join in. The biggest important principle really for me is the group and the unity between the group, because without that nothing works. And the reason is that I'm sat in a room full of people like going, oh, this is amazing, oh, this is incredible, oh, this is what I want. And then it did take me a while to realize that there was quite a few other people in the same room with me. And when I started to realize that, then I realized that I was no longer alone, and that there was people that were honestly in their heart, because nobody'd go through this. Nobody'd go through what you have to go through if you weren't real about it. I mean, it's not always that easy. And a lot of difficulty comes up and it reveals itself between us. And to find that no matter what is revealed between us, that there's people that are determining to change that in the face of God, and to find God in each other, and to explore each other, and to find that the principle is in the breakage, is in the breaking of the communication between us. And you see how desperately we all want to communicate. And in that is rife this breakage, this difficulty between us, where people get together, then they fall out, and what do they fall out on? You're not doing it for me anymore, you know. It's like, Here is a room full of people that unify under one goal, and it's the goal of creation. And it's the most powerful. Most powerful thing that I've ever experienced in my life. And that's, you know, it's a big reason. It's the reason, you know, for being here. And I would do anything to support and to break through any perception that is not in line with that, to try and realize the goal of creation. And the fact is that I have a group of people that are doing the same. Therefore, it is entirely realizable. And the goal of creation, to become one with God, if you really think about it in the reality of it, which has to be the reality of it, it means everything about your life, everything about everybody else's life, and everything about the life that seems to be around you. It's all going back to God. It's all going back to being one in this incredible, unbelievable, beautiful experience that is so far beyond us that it's completely unimaginable. Yet we taste it. We can feel it. We can taste it. We can sense it. That is very true. Is that the memory of it exists within us because we once had it. And this is what we're finding. Not when we try and find it within ourselves, but when we try and find it outside of ourselves, within the group, the study, the teacher, the books. This is you can taste it in all of these things, and you can taste the limitlessness of it. That there's no end to it. If I could go back and tell the little boy back then what I know now, would be just, you know, stop being so self-concerned. Stop being concerned with your own fears, with your own anxieties, with your own problems, with your own issues, with your own spirituality, with your own whatever it is. It's like look to others and you'll find it. Like, how can, you know, we're all looking for love. You know, and you look for the love of God or whatever it is. And the representation of that and the understanding of that within yourself is one thing. And it's an isolated thing. When really it has to be a unity thing. It has to be a unified thing between us all. If it's real. If it isn't real, if it's just in your imagination, it's fine, just keep it in your own head. But if it is real, then it's not going to just exist inside of you, it's going to exist inside of everybody. So that existence, that reality of it can become concrete and real through the relationships that you have with other people that are following, that are looking for the goal.